Hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Sorry, I'm not exactly sure what time you're watching this, but thank you for watching and for taking a chance. Hopefully, this is interesting. My name is Eric Morgan. I am a chef slash cook. I've been doing this for 20 years. Um, and currently, I work on a farm in the North Fork of Long Island, making food from the plants and animals that we raise on the farm. And it's very exciting because spring is coming. Uh, Temperatures are rising, and we're going to be getting a whole bunch of plants soon, which is great. Um, I started out in Baltimore, moved down to DC, worked in a couple of kitchens there, and then Philadelphia, then to the Cayman Islands, and then now to here. I'm semi-retired from line cook life. It's a lot nicer um, to make prepared foods instead of cooking for service. It's fantastic. Really good for work-life balance, especially being out here in the North Fork, all the way at the end, where it is very uh, chill and relaxing. Nice to be outside. Anyway, to the point. Alex thinks, and I do too, that maybe a couple of these stories that I have here for you guys are pertinent and germane to the conversation about SLOs and implementation and all that other stuff. I am not an expert in a technical sense in SLOs. I barely understand the acronym, but I know that it exists and it is important. That's why I'm here, and all you guys, all you people are here as well. Um, so, what are we going to talk about? I have two examples. One of like a catastrophic kind of error, which could have a huge negative impact, and steps we took to ameliorate that impact, as well as perhaps what might actually be considered a positive outcome. And then, secondly, and more shortly, a smaller error that kind of propagated itself and managed to affect and touch a whole bunch of people, but in less of a catastrophic way, but that also had no satisfactory resolution. And I suppose we can compare and contrast. You can judge for yourself what exactly to take from these two examples. So, to start with, we have a tasting menu. That is what we served in this first example. We had a appetizer, bread and dips to start, appetizers after that, main course after that, and then dessert after that. 4 courses. The main course is a braised lamb shoulder. The cost of this tasting menu, I believe, was around $60 a person just for food. So it's a 4 top of people. So we're talking $240 just for food right off the bat. I'm going to say probably at least 2 drinks each, $12 each, 2, 4, 6, 8 times 12. What is that? 96 plus 240. So we're talking $330 plus tax and tip. I mean, this is a $400 meal at least. Everyone's spending $100. So, you want to get things right for them, and you want to honor the sort of contract that you have. The customer's time and money, they sit in your restaurant, they order the tasting menu. You promise to deliver delicious food, prepared well and in a timely manner, with service also, as well as beverages. And hopefully, everybody's happy when they leave. In this case, everything is going swimmingly. They have their first course, they have their second course. The table is cleared. They're being presented with silverware and new plates and a whole new set. Anticipation is building for their main course. Their main course is the braised lamb shoulder. The lamb shoulder is my responsibility to take from the oven and put it on the plate that is served at the table. This particular lamb shoulder was a little bit feisty, I guess, or maybe I was a little bit careless. Who's to say, really? And it slipped, and I overcorrected, and then it slid the other way, and then it fell on the floor, and that was bad. It takes about half an hour under proper conditions to get another lamb shoulder ready to serve. They were the only table that had a lamb shoulder. There was none others for me to use that were in mid prep. I had to take a brand new one. So we have a 30-minute gap to fill on this table. What are we going to do? We bring over the server, the general manager, and the chef. I'm not the chef at this point. I'm just a line cook. And we talk about what's going on. How quickly can I get another lamb? 30 minutes, maybe 25 if I push it. All right. What have they not had? What are we going to do? We can't tell them that we messed up unless we're kind of forced to or like push a little bit in that direction. Right now, we can still play it off like everything is okay. Okay, no problem. What do we do? They haven't had the soup, and there's a few meze courses or meze plates that they did not choose. So, what are we going to do? Soup is fast. Soup is hot. We can get it to the table right now. They have a brand new set of stuff. All we have to do is drop some spoons. Cool. Let's do it. Soup goes out. That buys us 5 to 10 minutes. During that time, we fire some more mezes, the ones that they haven't had yet. We send those out. That buys us another 10 minutes. We're at like 20, 25 minutes. We send out a round of drinks because it looks like they're ready for another round of drinks. All of this stuff is presented as compliments of the house from the chef, a gift from the chef. No explanation about anything else, any other specifics. No one really needs to know why, I don't think, at this point. All anyone at the table knows is all of a sudden they started getting a lot of personal attention from the restaurant and a lot of free stuff. And especially in a nice restaurant where you're spending a lot of money, everyone loves getting free stuff. Just as a quick little sub editorial, working there, I got to find the effect. I got to find out firsthand the effect that free stuff has on people and how enthusiastic, if you deliver said free stuff enthusiastically, and genuinely, you can win a lot of people over. And you can find any excuse. You can say, these are regulars. Let's give them a free course. These are newbies. They look a little uncomfortable. Maybe they're not really down with the program. Let's give them a free course. These are people who are really excited to be here. Let's give them a free course. These are people who haven't seemed to enjoy anything so far. Let's give them a free course. These people have been here 3 times in the last month. Let's give them a free course. First timers, free course. I think I've went over those 2 already. Anyway, I think you get the point. When you start looking for ways to overachieve when it comes to serving your customers, you can find a justification pretty much for any reason. Sub rant over. So back to the lamb shoulder. 20, 25 minutes have passed. Now the lamb is ready, and now they're done with their additional mezes, and now we can drop the lamb on their table, not literally in a kersplash this time, but in the jargony restaurant sense, where you set the plate down very nicely and present it, and everybody's very happy. No one knows that anything wrong has happened. These people, this table is like super fired up and grateful and just overjoyed. And we took a catastrophically bad situation and we turn it around without even having to deal with announcing any bad news to anyone. Thanks to some quick thinking and just kind of what I would describe as an institutional insistence on making the customer happy, even if they don't know they need to be made happy yet, or specifically why, just for being there. So shifting gears a little bit, we have the pine nuts, which I mentioned earlier. They're tiny. Lamb shoulders are like this. They're huge. They're like, 5-6 pounds, big as your head, maybe a little smaller, maybe bigger, depending on your head, or the lamb shoulder. And where was I? Pine nuts. Big in Mediterranean food. In this particular instance, they were served whole as a garnish on a little salad, just kind of sprinkled around the plate and on top. Nicely toasted, delicious. They got a little fat. They just add they kind of round out. They're like the little carpet. They tie the whole plate together. And this time, a line cook who is not me decided they didn't want to spend a lot of time toasting their pine nuts, and they cranked the oven up. And instead of taking 12 minutes, they took 9 minutes. And the problem is when you cook nuts faster, they have a tendency to cook unevenly. And any discrepancies in the level of cook are magnified. And so we had some pine nuts that were like a little bit under, some pine nuts that were perfect, and then some pine nuts that were a little bit overcooked. Not burnt or black or anything like that, but very several shades past what any reasonable person, I think, would describe as toasted, and not particularly good, and not up to the standard that we set for ourselves, especially when you consider that, again, the institutional um, decision and approach to make customers happy without even being prompted. So anyway, the point being is that these pine nuts got mixed in to the nice pine nuts that were already on the station because the cook needed to have enough for the entire evening, and he was running behind during prep time. The end result of this is that many plates for most of the night wound up with crappy pine nuts on them. Not deadly pine nuts, not disgusting pine nuts, but pine nuts that weren't good enough. And many people received them. And the unfortunate thing is that they were mixed in with the regular ones. So you could see, if you're a customer, on the plate, one nice one and one not so nice one. And obviously something is amiss. And like I said, not catastrophic. No one died. No one even probably really noticed the taste. It was kind of subtle, but it was not good enough. And so now there's a whole evening's worth of customers who had pine nuts that visually didn't quite look right, and flavor wise didn't quite taste right. And once they're out in the world like that, there's you can't take them back. They were consumed, and you don't really know what the results are going to be. Probably not bad enough for anyone to complain or want their money back, but you end up with a whole evening's worth of people who did not have the full experience that you work so hard for everyone to have. So, maybe the worst part is that there's no resolution to this one. Maybe maybe no one even noticed. You don't know, but that's the bad part, is you don't know. In the first example, there was a really big mistake, and it managed to be corrected before anyone knew anything was wrong. And the second one, a very small mistake made its way through, but since it propagated and so it touched so many people, the odds increased that someone would not be happy. Bummer. So that's about it. I don't have any magical weaving these two stories together, magic dust or anything like that. But thank you for listening, and maybe this can help you out in some way or another. That's two things we used to say all the time. I think I'm middle-aged enough to leave with a couple aphorisms. Number one is, if you don't have enough time to do it correctly, when are you going to have time to fix your mistake? And then number two, I completely forgot already. So there we go. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your conference. Bye-bye.